Good morning. God bless. You already mad at your life because it's Monday? uh, it is time to work. My beautifully blessed world. Warning. This transmission may corrupt old code. This is a covenant reformat you might experience. Guilt over how long you've stayed in systems you outgrew. Friction between your current results and future requirements. Damn. Resistance to rewriting what once kept you safe. If these symptoms rise, don't cling to old logic. Oh, I broke myself today. Excuse me. I apologize. I was making sure my mic was on. All right. What are we not doing? We're not clinging to old logic. Let it all burn. This isn't a goal reset. This is a soul rewrite. Welcome to Raw 4 Epoch 2, day 118. Let's get into our concept overview. Today, we break the loop of recycled goals and half-finished blueprints. Here's what you'll learn. Why growth stops when you keep rebuilding the same basement. How covenant recalibration unlocks new system logic. What it really means to build down before you scale up. Ooh, I like that part. The reason most people never outgrow survival-based systems, and how to restructure your routine to match your real root. Let's get into our visual metaphor for the day. Imagine a phone that keeps freezing. You download the update but never install it. You restart it, wipe the screen, and call it good, then wonder why it keeps crashing. That's how most people run their lives. They read the books, attend the webinars, watch the sermons, download the concepts, but never install the system. Today is the install. You're not learning more. You're locking in the new operating system. Let's get into my personal perspective on this lovely Monday. This is what I've come to realize, right? We talk about rewiring systems, and we've been on this for a month. But I got to the point where I knew every day had to be a rewrite. Why? And simply stated, it's because I can't carry the same me into tomorrow that I did yesterday. And that's weight. And weight unprocessed becomes a wall. So I treat every morning like a hard reset. And it's not for survival, it's for sovereignty. I reflect, we talked about it yesterday, like it's required. I pray like it's proof. I strategize and execute not from hype, but from remembrance. You see, at some point in your evolution, you stop building homes you never live in. You stop stacking identities on blueprints with no foundation. You realize all you've got is basements, unfinished, undecided, and uninhabitable. And you keep going down, chasing the next version of you in the dirt, but you never build up. You're not rooted, you're just buried. And so I had to confront it. Was I digging to grow or just digging to hide? Now, Kabbalists, they talk about the descent before the ascent. You don't rise until you've earned the right to carry weight from below. So now I don't build out for, let's say, May, just to see external branches. I build down into my covenant. I double the root, every habit, every morning, every repetition. It ain't for the leaf. Forget the leaf. I want the trunk. Because bliss doesn't come from the bottom. It comes from knowing you're built to weather storms before they arrive. That is the war room. That's the system rewrite. That's the day I don't need to wait for anything anymore because I became it. Really critically important. that you build down. It's you need, not you need. The difficulty you'll find, your ability to stretch upward is how stretched you are downward. How deeply rooted are you? The deeper your roots, the stronger the foundation, the more your ability to grow. And what we'll get into momentarily for this Black Book system teaching is, as I referenced in my personal perspective for the Kabbalist theory, the ascent is also the descent. The starting point is also the ending point. You cannot scale upward if you don't continue to scale downward. It can't all be for what's for show. If you're always working on what people see in the dressings, then you'll collapse. There has to be massive inward, behind the scenes, dark rooted shadow. It's not like shadow by the standards of psychological definition, but it is the building below. And you can't have a tiny little basement. You got to extend your basement. You got to bunker and hunker down. That is a lot of what this is. This is also why I'm so big on root. Where is the root? The root returns inward. You return home. Spiritual. And then you ascend out. Imagine you return home to the finite, to what God gave you access to in this physical realm, and then you expand it towards the infinite. How do you do that? Through your visualization techniques, through your prayer and meditation, through your dreaming. Right? We dream out loud with our words and our thoughts and our aspirations. We literally dream at night, hopefully great dreams. So that's all massively important conscious mechanisms. A lot of the times, too, dream state, we just ignore what the subconscious is telling us. I just started documenting my dreams about a week or two ago. Deeper work, more work that people don't, and what I've come to realize too is this. Even in that state, my subconscious state, I'm starting to have consistent themes, all rooted in the same principles. This is not something you should arbitrarily dismiss or laugh off. The system is so integrated that whenever I'm awake, whenever I'm asleep, whenever I'm conscious, whenever I'm not unconscious, whenever I'm in my subconscious, I'm even very technical about that term. I'm never unconscious. I'm never not aware of what's going on, because I built my subconscious so strong that it matches my conscious level and my conscious flow. That's important. That's why nothing you miss things. I'm not perfect. But I assure you, if you just but ask, I refer to it as God. God will blow open the entire reality of what you think life is for you. Well, absolutely. I promise you. Man, the quantifiable and qualifiable terms to put into perspective for you will not suffice. There aren't enough superlatives. There aren't enough descriptions. I can't fully explain to you what it means to be locked in this way and have a root source and be spirited this way. I encourage you to God, please, if you don't want to, pick a name, any name, pick a vision, any vision, pick something above you, pick an infinite possibility and watch everything just explode. No, not like, well, cliche Jeff said this and tomorrow. No, not that fast. But I promise, man, I promise, you'll have so many moments of, oh, wow, really? And then even the things that come that blow open for you on the financial scale, on the career arc, on any sort of entrepreneurial endeavors, they pale in comparison. I had something happen to me last night that just last night, that if it, relative, it's a beautiful blessing. A beautiful blessing. But the biggest blessing was sharing it with my wife and starting to get tactical about our next move. I didn't even like react to what it was as far as what the prize was. And I promise you, it was big. It was big. But it was, I asked for it. God delivered it. And we get into this, these, I think we brush past these cliche on God's timing. It's also because don't be selfish. God is working for everybody, including people who don't ask for it intentionally and directly. But when you're rooted, the beauty of it is the consistency of the outcomes. Even the difficulties make sense. Even the hardships, you're like, yeah, I get it. But the way that you stack and you build the basement and you expand on the low and you go down and do the dirty work, the way that you start to scale up, and this scaling up like this, you're gonna be like, I got to get back down to the basement because the outcomes are just confirmation. It's you think it's the why. That has nothing to do with the why. You're gonna want to get right back to work. You're not gonna be I'm not satisfied. There isn't a financial number. There isn't a success metric for a career, for a relationship. There's no structure that presents itself in a physical form as a reward or an outcome that'll suffice. It's not, I don't even sweat it. It's expected because I can remember and reflect as I do by the minute, by the second. You already, the root, you plant the seed, you start to realize, when it turns into and blossoms into a big tree, you're not worried. That's trunk level work. So now you want to worry about what the leaves look like and the colors. Man, listen, the colors are the colors and the leaves are the leaves. The height it reaches to, all is predicated off of the amount of work I do to make sure it's rooted. How big is your trunk? How deep does it run down? It's beautiful, man. I'm telling you, even the hardships are beautiful. Let's get into the Black Book System teaching. Where you at, chat, on a 413 on a Monday? If you here, we don't talk about, oh man, it's Monday. If it's, oh man, it's Monday, how long has it been, oh man, it's Monday, before you make it a, oh yes, thank you, God, it's Monday. And you stop even labeling days. I keep trying to tell you, a lot of times I don't even know what day it is. I only remember because of relevance to the conversation for what we do on the Raw Flow experience. Here's the system teaching in the Black Book. We're going to make this surgical. A system is not your routine. It's the subconscious framework that powers it. Here's what most people never realize. Your subconscious behavior runs 95% of your daily behavior. 95%. That means you can say, new me, all you want, and put on the dance. But until you rewrite your system, you're just pretending. System updates only take through repetition. That's why consistency is so important. Affirmations without action, cosmetic. New goals without new rhythms, delusion. And then each system has an emotional frequency. Old systems run on avoidance. New systems run on alignment. The subconscious, I've said it, it's literal in nature. 95% of what drives your behavior and how you identify, and then what you attract and what it delivers to you and how you see things. Unemotional, but it works on the emotion that drives and builds it. So you keep saying, I really want this, I really want this, I really want this, but you keep behaving and avoiding the work and avoiding the work and avoiding the work. God, your subconscious, your spirit, your root, the frequency, the vibe, the energy, the environment is like, I know what you're really about. Don't overcomplicate this. There's already so much complexity involved. The last thing you want to do is further exacerbated with nonsense around woe is me. You can get hyped over who you could be, and then you settle in emotionally to who you are. And if who you are settled in is avoidance and procrastination and stagnation, your subconscious is like, I don't care about when you hype. There's nothing about when you hype. Hype means nothing. Hype is a brief moment. In fact, I know your code to know that you get hyped once or twice a day. We talk about like a broke clock. So your subconscious is like, yeah, I know what this is. Yeah, all right, back here. There's no coincidence. If you look down, not look down, if you did an evaluation of your life and you followed yourself around consciously, like if you stepped outside of yourself and you followed you for a week and you took notes on yourself, you wouldn't be that surprised at where you are in your life. You wouldn't be surprised at your money. You wouldn't be surprised at your environment. You wouldn't be surprised at your relationships. You wouldn't be surprised at how you feel. How could you be? Have you scrupulously scrutinized every line? If you haven't, if you are stuck, confused, perplexed, unsure, uncertain, scared, not only should you buy a dog, but then you haven't really come to consciousness about where you're really at. You haven't audited the entirety of your existence just over the course of a week. It'll tell you a lot about what you don't know and a lot about what you should know. So old systems are in maintenance mode, built on possibly avoidance. New systems run on alignment. We talked ad nauseum the entire week. I've gone through a month of iterative processes behind starting to incrementally establish authority over your life. That's what this has been. I understand how it could likely not be appreciated because you have to put it into motion, but we're building root. All right. Covenant based design over motivation based movement. If your identity isn't sealed in covenant, your system will fracture under pressure. That's why this upcoming month, that's why May is critical. It forces pressure. And pressure exposes permission. Today we revoke that permission. You know there's consequences. Here are the consequences of inaction. Let's focus on May. If you don't rewrite your system this month, you'll re-enter old routines. You'll confuse upgrades with overstimulation. You'll keep reciting affirmations while ignoring alignment. You'll disguise survival as strategy, and worst of all, you'll keep building deeper basements instead of raising the roof on what God already gave you permission to construct. Here's how to take ownership. It's time to burn the previous blueprint. Don't evolve, don't reword it, delete the old system. You're not tweaking your routine, you're transcending it. Here's something else you can do to take ownership. Write down the next version. Name your new operating system. Give it a mission. Give it a tone. Give it a rhythm. Make it sacred. Make it specific. Treat your schedule like your soul depends on it. You want to know why? Because it does. Here's something else you want to do. Presuming you care to fix anything. Presuming you think it's broken. Presuming you care. Move like it's sealed. Rehearse the new you in real time. No beta tests. Full deployment, full immersion. Bliss is not luck. It's a system performance review. Feeling it yet on a Monday? Here's a daily phone tap. Here's the phone call. You got it, and it's time to move like it's recorded. Here's something you could do today. Order one system from last month that made you feel busy but not better. Here's an example. You kept tweaking your calendar app, but never changed what you were showing up for. That's not organization. That is aesthetic avoidance. Oh, I love my life. That's the audit. Then you want to hit them with the remix. Remix the version of you that always tries to do more but never rewrites the why. For example, you stayed consistent with a routine that matched a previous identity. You don't need to tweak the time block. You need to rewrite who you believe is showing up. Then we got to re-record it. I got to get into detail at some point about the audit, remix, re-record, the significance. The audit is emotional realization. The remix is thought to consider new possibilities. Re-record is a subconscious reprogramming, conscious reprogramming. That's the power and the rhythm of creation. Re-record. Re-record your May system in real time. For example, declare a system name. Call it the May Storm Protocol. I don't know. Be creative. Build one new ritual. Execute it at the same time every day. Say it out loud before you begin. Prove that it is sealed. The system will not rewrite itself. It's you or your old you. Choose one. You either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.